I'm Ellis Martin. In this segment of the Ellis Martin Report, I speak with Dr. Paul Wessels, the President and CEO of Western Copper and Gold Corporation, trading on the New York Stock Exchange and the Toronto Stock Exchange as WRN. Western Copper and Gold Corporation is developing the Casino Project, Canada's premier copper gold mine in the Yukon Territory, and one of the most economic greenfield copper gold mining projects in the world. The Casino Project hosts approximately 7.6 billion pounds of copper, as well as 14.5 million ounces of gold, one of the largest projects of its kind, again held by a junior mining company in the world. Major mining operator Rio Tinto Canada made a $25.6 million strategic investment to advance the company's Casino Project in the Yukon just last year. Paul, welcome back to the program. It's great to hang out with you today.
It's always great to see you, Ellis.
We just visited recently at the Yukon Mining Alliance's booth at the Vancouver Resource Investment Conference, and I have to tell you, I've never seen that conference hall at the convention center and that particular conference so packed with people. What do you think that means?
You know, it was good. And you know what was exciting for me? For those of you that aren't familiar, it's a 2-day conference. It's a Sunday and it's a Monday. On the Sunday, as you can imagine, it's more of a retail crowd, more generalist investors, and that was the day when it was really packed, was on the Sunday. People are excited about mining stocks. They're excited about gold, excited about critical minerals, which is where my passion is with our Casino project. They see tremendous value in junior mining equities, and it was a good time.
I had the opportunity to speak on a gold panel there, and I know you've got quite a bit of gold in your project. Sometimes when I think of Western Copper and Gold, most of the time I think of copper first because it's first in the name of your company, but you've got quite a supply or stash, as we used to say in the 70s, of gold. And I think you're positioned for either market this year very nicely.
Yeah, no, I mean, our headline numbers are a little under 11 billion pounds of copper, 21 million ounces of gold. And to put that into perspective, as a copper gold asset, it is the 5th largest copper gold asset controlled by a junior mining company. Just the gold. This is not counting the copper, not counting molybdenum and silver, just the gold. It's the 8th largest gold deposit controlled by a junior mining company with 21 million ounces of gold. So we definitely love to see gold here over 1900. It's moving our share price up as you would expect, but still lots of value there.
Speaking of value and value to the community, it was in September when I had the pleasure and privilege of interviewing who is now the premier of the Yukon Territory, Ranj Pillai, and we were discussing, I had asked him questions about the economic impact of mining on not just the Yukon, but Canada. And he was quite passionate about that economic impact for the Yukon and again across Canada, and he's been involved in it. And that sort of feeds into the news release that you have out today. You completed an updated study on the potential economic impact of the development of your wholly owned Casino Copper Gold project, which I've been on, and the numbers are just astounding for the Yukon and for Canada. There's a lot of numbers here. I think they're all important, so let's talk about it.
Yeah, there are a lot of numbers. Our Casino Copper Gold project is, let's talk just for a second about critical minerals. It is the largest critical minerals project in Canada. So that gives you an idea. And, critical minerals, that's the copper, that's the molybdenum that's in the project. That doesn't even count the gold. The gold part makes it even bigger. So this is the construction, the operation over the life of mine, closure, all of that adds $44.3 billion to the GDP of Canada. This is why we pursue mining. I've been in the mining industry my whole life. This is why I get really excited about projects like what we have at Casino, because they're big, they really move the needle. And this is an exciting project for Western Copper and Gold shareholders. It's an exciting project for the Yukon. It's an exciting project for Canada. It's significant in terms of the economic impact. But sure, everybody likes money. But I think the other thing that's important that people understand is how this helps develop a territory. And one of the other really exciting things that came out, actually the week you were up here, was this tweet actually that came from the Minister of Energy, Mines and Resources around the connection of the British Columbia and Yukon power grids. When you have a project the size of Casino in a jurisdiction such as the Yukon, producing this sort of economic impact, you want to facilitate that happening. So the government in 2017 announced that they would build a number of roads. One of those is the road to our Casino project. They just announced with this tweet that they're looking at connecting the BC and the Yukon grids. It's a long ways away, but again, this is something that would really benefit benefit the Yukon, really benefit our project, really add to the green credentials of everything. And I'm excited about that. I'm excited about it's not just the economic impact, it's the jobs, of course. The jobs number is 132,000 full-time equivalent positions that are created. They're big numbers, but this is sort of typical for a project of this magnitude.
What's really important is the landscape of the Yukon with regard to the native people that live there, the rest of Canada folks that may be living there. I was asking the Premier back in September about what the Yukon might look like, the landscape, the physical landscape of it might look like with continually developing mine production there. And now with bringing ultimately the casino project on board, I would think that we would have a center in either Whitehorse or Dawson or throughout the territory where the rest of Canada may just want to come and work and produce and provide energy and minerals for the rest of the world.
Yeah, I know I'm preaching to the choir with you, Ellis, but there's a couple of things about the Yukon. First of all, we're talking here about the casino project, immense potential. But the Yukon already there's lots of work up there. I believe it's actually had the lowest unemployment in Canada for the past 5 years. And it's a great place to be. I'm excited by the casino project because I think what it does is it provides really good jobs and really long-term jobs. I mean, we're talking about a project here that actually including the construction period, not including closure, but including the construction period, it has over 30 years of life. So we were actually talking earlier, actually had a board meeting this morning, and we were talking about, well, what are you guys doing in the communities? And we're doing lots of things in the small communities we impact in Whitehorse and that. And the point came up, he says, yeah, you should be talking to the 10-year-olds and the 5-year-olds because they'll be working at this mine. This is a long life mine. It'll be the 10-year-olds' kids that are working in this mine. I really feel like it's an important asset to the Yukon and an important asset to Canada. And we've been developing it. We're in the thick of permitting right now. We're developing it very carefully. Fortunately, not quite as quickly either as I'd like to, but it's being moved forward in a very measured way because it's such great value and it's such an asset to the country of Canada. And one of the other things, and I'm just going to come back and talk a bit more about critical minerals. This is becoming a bigger and bigger thing. There's an article that came out a couple of days ago where the chair or president of the International Energy Association came to Canada and said, look, Canada needs to do its part. The US needs to do its part. Countries that have stable governments need to do their part to supply the minerals and metals that we need to go through the energy transition that we're going through moving forward. And this is a perfect example of Casino Project, like I said, one of the largest critical mineral mines, the largest critical minerals project in Canada. And it's important that this gets developed, not just for the people of the Yukon and Canada, but just to get that supply of copper out of countries like Canada that have good, stable governments, take environmental, social responsibilities seriously. And that's exactly what we're doing at Western Copper and Gold.
You mentioned that certain things are taking time. I recognize that, but I have to tell you, knowing you for about 7 or 8 years now, like I have, I've never seen things move so fast in one particular area in Canada, a large area, than anywhere else in the country.
No, it's interesting because, when we first met 7 years ago, it was all about the potential. The potential of the Yukon. The potential is so great. I mean, now it's not about the potential. It's about what's happening. I mean, you've got the Eagle Gold project up and running. You've got the Kidzikaya, which it's a private company, BMC Minerals, but it's through permitting and they're going to start construction pretty quickly. Got lots of excitement around our casino project just because of the size of it. Like I talked about, I mean, I can't emphasize enough. I'm really excited about this power grid interconnect. All these things are happening in the Yukon. And so it's happening. It's not the potential. It's happening in the Yukon, and that's exciting. It's exciting.
You're not doing this on your own. It's always great to have a partner with deep pockets like Rio Tinto.
Yeah, no, Rio made a strategic investment in the company a little over 18 months ago. They just renewed in November of last year the agreement that we have with them. That gives them 1 more year. It was part of the original agreement that we had with them. And really, it's a very simple agreement that we have with Rio. The idea is that we would spend, now it'll be 2.5 years working with them. We've been working hand in hand with them over the past year and a half, another year here to go, to really help them dot every I and cross every T. And this is the big companies, these big investments and big companies, they got to be very careful, fair enough. And we're 1.5 years through. They really like what they see, or else why would they have extended the agreement? So that's been extended. I actually talked to them this week. We're going through committees and looking at optimizations and all these things. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's almost a once in a lifetime project that we have up here in Casino. Large copper gold project located in Canada. Great, as we talked about this whole conversation. Great government support. Yeah, the government likes us. No. The government's helping building a road to the mine. The government is seriously looking at connecting the grids, which will significantly improve the project. First Nation relationships that are really advanced, and First Nations that are very supportive of this. So we'll see where things will go with Rio, but I'm feeling very positive about it.
Well, Paul, it's always great to catch up with you. I'd like to disclose to our audience that I am a shareholder and you are a paid sponsor of the Ellis Martin Report. We are also friends, and we wouldn't be friends if we didn't like each other and respect what we both do for a living. And I have a lot of respect for your project and your helmsmanship over the years, Paul. Thanks so much for joining me today in the program.
You know what, Ellis? It's always a pleasure talking to you, and happy that we'll be talking probably in a couple more months here, and with hopefully some exciting news.
I've been speaking with Dr. Paul West-Sells, the president and CEO of Western Copper and Gold Corporation, trading on the New York Stock Exchange and the Toronto Stock Exchange as WRN. Go to the company's website, westerncoppercorp.com. I'm Ellis Martin, and I'm an investor with Western Copper and Gold Corporation.